able to pay them back.
Even if these could be regarded as loans, despite all the evidence to the contrary, the basis on which they were made would, in our view, unarguably amount to, and I quote, a benefit, unquote, within the meaning of the word in the Corruption Act. These loans were such that there was no date for repayment, and until May 1999, no interest was charged, no security was asked, and all this made available to a borrower with a bad record of default in repayments.
This is the story of a man who operated in the shadows of power, a businessman, a political fixer, a kingmaker, and ultimately the man whose crimes brought down a future president. This is the rise and fall of Schabir Shaik, the controversial figure behind one of South Africa's biggest corruption scandals. Schabir Shaik was born in Johannesburg, in the old Transvaal province. He was raised in Greenwood Park, Durban, in a politically conscious family. One of several brothers, Yunus, Mo, Chippy, Faisal, and Salim, Shaik's early years were marked by the tragedy of losing his mother in a car crash. His father was an Indian South African from Pietermaritzburg. His mother was of mixed heritage. As apartheid raged in the country, Shaik's older brother Yunus joined the ANC's underground cells. And through that connection, Schabir entered the struggle too, helping move funds from ANC donors in London back into South Africa. He briefly worked as a lecturer in electrical engineering, but his credentials were quickly questioned. In 1986, Shaik resigned after a Hawaiian degree he claimed to have was exposed as fake. He later tried again at Mangosuthu Technikon, but was suspended after allegations of cheating during exams. The writing was on the wall. Schabir Shaik wouldn't rise through academia. He'd rise through power. In 1995, just 1 year after South Africa's first democratic elections, Shaik co-founded Nkobi Holdings and Nkobi Investments, naming them after the late ANC Treasurer General, Thales and Nkobi. But even the name was controversial. The Nkobi family said Shaik had no right to use it. He didn't care. Nkobi became the shell for a growing empire, spanning infrastructure, IT, and most importantly, defense contracts. Behind closed doors, Shaik had grown incredibly close to a rising star in the ANC, Jacob Zuma. The two weren't just allies. They were entangled. Shaik personally managed Zuma's finances, paid his bills, canceled his debts. The arrangement was secret until it exploded. At the heart of South Africa's most controversial deal in history, the 1999 arms deal, stood Schabir Shaik. He was a director in Thompson CSF, now known as Thales, and had positioned Nkobi as their local empowerment partner. Behind the scenes, the Scorpions were watching. But this wasn't just about transformation or business. This was about billions. The deal was worth over 30 billion rand, a massive post-apartheid procurement plan that aimed to modernize South Africa's military with new fighter jets, submarines, helicopters, and naval systems. Shaik saw a golden opportunity. He didn't just want in, he wanted control. By embedding Nkobi into Thales' joint ventures, Shaik positioned himself to benefit directly from government contracts awarded through shady backroom negotiations. He also knew he needed political cover, someone on the inside. That man was Jacob Zuma. As then MEC for Economic Affairs in KwaZulu-Natal, and later Deputy President of South Africa, Zuma was a rising star in the ANC with the kind of access and influence Shaik needed. In exchange for favors and protection, Zuma was offered what prosecutors described as an annual bribe, 500,000 rand to be paid by Thales through Shaik's companies. The bribe was allegedly meant to ensure that Zuma would protect Thales from Investigation if and when the arms deal came under scrutiny, and it did. Behind the scenes, the Scorpions were watching. In 2001, they raided Shaik's offices. They found classified government documents and a money trail linking Shaik directly to Jacob Zuma. Not just informal assistance or personal support, structured payments, shady financial advice, and falsified company records. The scandal exposed a dirty web of collusion. Thales needed access. Shaik needed profit. Zuma needed cash. By 2004, the case against Shaik was ready. The charges? 2 counts of corruption and 1 count of fraud. He pleaded not guilty. The trial began in October 2004. Judge Hilary Squires presided. The evidence was damning. Between 1995 and 2002, Shaik had paid Jacob Zuma over 1.2 million rand, interest-free, with no expectation of repayment. In return, Zuma was allegedly ready to protect Shaik's interests, especially with the French arms company Thales. But that wasn't all. The payments weren't just favors between friends. They were part of a calculated strategy designed to secure lucrative government contracts. Investigators revealed that Shaik had negotiated secret payments from Thales in exchange for political protection and influence over the ongoing investigation into the arms deal. The plan was simple. Zuma would use his position to shield Thales from prosecution. And in return, Thales would pay Zuma 500,000 rand per year, facilitated through Shaik. The money was intended to buy silence, influence government decisions, and ensure Nkobi and Thales remained in control of multi-billion rand defense deals. Emails, invoices, and bank statements traced payments linked to shady procurement projects, including attempts to corner supply contracts for naval systems and encrypted communications. There were even proposals for strategic advisory fees, coded language that prosecutors said was just another way of laundering bribe money under corporate cover. One of the most shocking pieces of evidence, Shaik's own company records. They showed that over 1 million rand of Zuma's debts had been fraudulently written off in Nkobi's books. On June 2, 2005, Judge Squires delivered his verdict, guilty on all charges. Shaik was sentenced to 15 years in prison for corruption and 3 years for fraud, served concurrently. The message was clear. This wasn't just white-collar crime. This was betrayal of the state. But Shaik wasn't done fighting. He appealed to the Supreme Court of Appeal in 2006, and he was rejected. He appealed to the Constitutional Court in 2007, and he was once more rejected. Another technical appeal in 2008 got him minor relief, but his conviction stood. By then, the damage was done. Jacob Zuma was forced to resign as deputy president. The fallout from Shaik's conviction marked a turning point in post-apartheid politics.
Circumstances dictate that in the interest of the Honorable Deputy President, the government, our young democratic system and our country, it would be best to release Honorable Jacob Zuma from his responsibilities as Deputy President of the Republic and member of the Cabinet.
In March 2009, after serving less than 2.5 years of his 15-year sentence, Schabir Shaik was released on medical parole. The reason? A terminal illness, we were told. But South Africans were shocked when photos emerged. Shaik, alive and well, playing golf, dining in public, walking freely. There were questions, lots of them. Was this another example of the rich and connected evading justice? Post-prison, Schabir Shaik didn't stay out of the headlines. In 2013, he was accused of assaulting a golf caddy, allegedly hitting him with a golf club, slapping and kicking him. He was said to have hurled racial slurs and then offered 500 rand to make it go away. He was also accused of assaulting a journalist. and assaulting someone at a mosque during a heated argument. None of these incidents led to convictions, but the pattern painted a dark portrait, a man who, even outside prison walls, acted with impunity. A forensic audit of his companies revealed a toxic culture, bullying staff, manipulating BEE structures, and intimidating anyone who got in his way. One former secretary testified Shaik gave her 40,000 rand after an incident of a personal nature during a business trip. The case was swept under the rug. Shaik had no direct murder victims, but his crimes hit South Africa hard. They corrupted government contracts. They undermined public trust. They shattered the promise of ethical governance after apartheid. He left behind a legacy of crony capitalism, backroom deals, and manipulated power. He used front companies, political alliances, and personal loyalty to climb the ladder, then dragged others down with him. Even today, his name is synonymous with state corruption. He was the match that lit the fire of South Africa's long battle with state capture. This was Schabir Shaik, a man who rose from the streets of Durban to the heart of the presidency and left behind a trail of corruption that would haunt a nation for years to come. Because sometimes, the most dangerous men aren't the ones with guns. They're the ones with friends in high places,